Hey everyone, I just wanted to warn you that this is going to be a super long video, but it's going to be packed with a lot of details. But if you want to skip all the boring parts and go straight to the good stuff, I'll put timestamps down below to some different areas in the video, which I'm going to try to start doing with a lot of my newer videos. So make sure you guys check them out. And I'll also put a link down below to my Instagram. If you guys want to follow me on there, you can see sneak peeks of upcoming videos, different pictures and things like that. So let's get into it. Hey, what's going on everyone? So I got a brand new 4-inch fat tire Heybike, or is it a Heybike? I think it's a Heybike. Well, anyway, this is the Heybike Mars, and it's a 4-inch fat tire bike with front suspension, a 12.5 amp hour battery, and it comes with a suspension seat post. So we're going to get into this thing, unbox it. We're going to go over in detail what this thing comes with, then we're going to hop on it, take it for a test ride, and see how it rides. Now, Heybike was nice enough to send this bike out for free for me to test and review, and they also provided me with a coupon code for you guys to save a few bucks if you decide you want to purchase one of these. I'll leave a link down below in the description of the coupon code, and I believe it's active for 30 days from the day that this video is published. So if there's any reason that the code does not work or something, please put it down in the comments. That way you can let everybody know that it is no longer active. Now, one thing I want to mention is that they have a warehouse in California, so the bikes are shipped from there. I believe they have free shipping, and they also are sold on Amazon. So if you guys aren't comfortable ordering from their website, then I'll leave an affiliate link down below to Amazon as well, where you can purchase the bike. Now, if you guys use any of those links, I will make a small commission at no extra cost to you, but that's what helps me making these videos. So let's go ahead and get into it and see what this bike comes with. All right guys, so got it unpackaged here, and it looks like that the only thing you really have to install is the handlebars, the stem down into the forks. So basically it's just one bolt there. You loosen that up, slide that in there, and tighten it back up with this one bolt right here. That's a little bit odd, seeing that that doesn't come together and they have you install that, but we're gonna go ahead and open up the package that they give you here with the bike and see what all comes in here as far as tools. And I'm assuming the charger's in here as well. So it looks like we got the charger here, D-Power, which is the same as my other bikes. 2 amp output, so it's a 2 amp charger, just like my other bikes. Now, I did notice that the charge port was a little bit different on this than my other charger. So this has like a 3-prong charger on it. Let's see what else comes in here. Looks like we got the user manual. And oh, the pedals, yeah, I almost forgot. So the handlebars and the pedals, you got to put the pedals on too. Forgot about that. But it looks like these are plastic pedals. I don't really see a name brand on it. It says HF on the end. It kind of looks like maybe they would be folding. Yeah, there we go. So they're folding pedals. They're folding plastic pedals. I don't know, not too bad. We'll put them on and see how they work. Now, on my other bikes, I did upgrade my pedals on those anyway, at least on my bike, because they were pretty slippery. So even if these don't work out too good, I will just be replacing them with the other pedals that I replaced on my other bikes that are not folding, but they are like a quick disconnect. And I've only really used them a few times, so you know, I'll make a review on those later on. But worst case scenario, I think they were like 20 or 30 bucks, and I could change them out to that. But so far, I mean, they'll probably be okay. We got the user manual here. And you can also check out their owner's manual or user's manual on the website too. If you go on there, I've seen they have a link for the user manual. So if you guys want to check that out, maybe to help you guys out with knowing about the bike before you make a purchase on it, if you were thinking about purchasing one. And they do give you some tools here. So I'm assuming one of these tools is going to work to install the pedals, and one should work to install the handlebars. So we got a 15 here that will work for the pedals. And now we just got to put the handlebars in. So you just have to open the handlebars up, loosen this bolt. I'm going to loosen it a pretty good bit here. That should be good. We're going to close this up, slide it into here. And you want to make sure that your front wheel, see, because you can turn these or put them on backwards or whatnot. You want to make sure that your front wheel is lined up with your handlebars being straight before you tighten that. But I'm going to snug it up just slightly first, and then we'll line it up and I'll tighten it up the rest of the way. So I just snugged it up enough to where I could still turn it, And let me put the seat in there so I could try to line everything up. One thing I thought was pretty cool, so this seat flips up, but what they give you, it flips up so that you can get the battery out, but they do give you a suspension seat post with it, so that's cool that I don't have to upgrade that. And the seat does feel a little bit more comfortable than the ones I got on some of my other bikes, so that might be a plus. So we'll have to test that out for sure, because that's one thing I usually end up always upgrading on all my bikes is the seats, because usually they're never comfortable. So hard to tell. Alright guys, so once you get your handlebars in line with the wheel and everything, you want to fold them down and you want to snug this bolt up in the center here pretty tight. Now they don't give you any torque specs on this. I wish I would have been able to see exactly how tight this bolt had to be, and then I could have used my torque wrench to torque it down to the exact spec, but I'm just going to snug it up pretty good there. And you're going to want to keep an eye on that bolt every so often, maybe before each ride or before every couple rides or whatever. Just make sure that that's really tight, and that's something we're going to be testing out over time to see if that holds up. So I got that tightened up now. So let's get these pedals put on and take it for a spin. Now they do have these pedals marked left and right, so the right one goes on when you're sitting on the bike on the right side, and the left one goes obviously on the left side when you're sitting on the bike. And they do supply the wrench to tighten these up. But once I get them tightened up a little bit here, I'm going to actually use the pedal wrench I bought though, just because I have a little bit more grip on it. And if you guys need one of these, I had to buy one of these with my new pedals because it was too narrow to get a regular wrench on it, but I'll put a link to this down below in the description as well if you guys need a decent pedal wrench. And now for the left one. And the left one has reverse threads, so just keep that in mind. You have to go the opposite way on the left side of what you would normally screw a bolt in. So folding pedals, which is nice. All right, so there she is. Now let's take a look at some of the specs and features of this 20-inch folding fat tire e-bike. Now this is a brand new e-bike made by Heybike. It's the Heybike Mars. And one of the features that I really like about this bike is not only do they include an oil spring suspension in the front, but they also include a suspension seat post to help soften those blows on some of the bigger bumps. This bike is powered by a 12.5 amp hour battery, and what's cool about this battery is that it has a USB port in the side for 5-volt charging, so you could charge cell phones and other devices on the go, or you could take it off and use it as a portable power bank. Just think of what it would cost you if you bought a 12,500 milliamp hour battery pack. This battery pack is flowing through a 15 amp controller to power the 500 watt geared hub motor in the back wheel, and I was able to reach about 750 watts of power on the display of the bike going up some hills in my initial testing. Up here on the handlebars we have the KD21C display, which allows you to control your PAS levels from 0 to 3 out of the box. Now one thing they don't tell you in the manual is that you can go into the settings and change that to 9 different PAS levels, and you can also adjust sensitivity of each level, which is an awesome feature. I don't know why they don't advertise that. It also displays your speed, your trip, your odometer, max speed, average speed, a lot of different things, battery level, which is adjustable. Right next to the display you have 2 separate buttons. The bottom button controls a horn that's built into the headlamp, and the top button controls the headlamp. It turns it on and off along with the tail light. Now the tail light is not a brake light, so when you pull the levers it does not get brighter or activated. That would have been a nice feature to see for safety. Coming across the handlebars here, we have one quick release lever right in the center for adjusting the angle of the handlebars quickly and easily. On the right side of the handlebars we have a thumb throttle and a 7-speed Shimano thumb shifter that goes down to the Shimano Tourney entry-level derailleur. This bike has a KMC chain leading up to the 48-tooth sprocket in the front and a 14 to 28 freewheel in the rear. Now for stopping power, this bike's using a set of Zoom mechanical disc brakes on 160mm rotors. Now I was pleasantly surprised that I barely had to adjust these out of the box, and the brakes are super quiet. However, the only trade-off is that going down long steep hills they weren't quite as powerful as I would have liked them to have been. That was probably because of the type of brake pads that they used. This bike's sitting on a pair of 20 by 4 inch Chow Yang puncture resistant fat tires. And this bike also comes with a pair of front and rear fenders and a rear rack for you to be able to attach a bag or to haul different things on. Now, one thing about the plastic fenders, I wasn't quite sure if I was going to like them at first, but I don't hear any rattle out of them, and they also will never rust. You never have to worry about them rusting, and it also keeps the bike a little bit lighter. Now, even though this bike weighs 66 pounds, I was easily able to fold the bike up and fit it in back of my Kia Soul. Now, I want to jump back up here real quick to the front suspension, because I forgot to mention that on one side of this suspension it has a lockout, and on the other side there's a knob for adjusting the comfort, the ride comfort of it. However, with that knob, me adjusting it, I didn't see much of a difference, so I'm going to have to play around with those settings some more and see if it actually makes a difference. Alright, enough about the specs and features of the bike. If you guys have any questions about it, put it down in the comments, but let's go ahead and get this bike out and take it for a ride and see what it does. Alright guys, so we're over here on the Heybike Mars, and we're going to be testing out this bike on its first ride. Oh yeah, I could tell you one thing, that suspension is definitely helping out a lot as far as, you know, from not having it to having it. Let's test this out again. Oh yeah, definitely pretty decent. I'm assuming it's probably just a cheap suspension, but cheap suspension is better than no suspension. Let's go off this curb again. Yeah, not bad. All right, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna check out the PAS levels here real quick, and we're gonna do a speed test, see how fast it'll go, take it up some hills and stuff like that, just get my first impression of it. Right now I'm just doing throttle only. So let's do, first let's do a throttle only test and see how fast she'll go. Oh yeah, another cool thing, let me show you here, is you can go, there's another cool setting, power. So this is going to show you the power that the motor's producing. And it's up to 700 watts. And obviously it's going to drop as you hit top speed, 20 miles an hour. Let me see, let me get on this straight stretch here. 18. 19. So right around, there's 20. So just about 20 miles an hour, which is what's advertised. So that was throttle only, 20 miles per hour, full throttle. Now let's do the pedal assist modes and see what we get in each mode there. Oh, another cool thing that I thought was pretty neat, there is no bell on this bike, but they do give you a horn. And it's not super loud, but it's pretty loud, and it's I'd say perfect for the bike trail. I have a horn alarm on some of my other bikes that I bought aftermarket and put on, and it's really cool for the alarm and horn when you're riding down the street, you know, in a town or whatever, and you want cars to hear you. But on the bike trail, it's just way too loud and it will scare people, so I tend not use it on a bike trail, but I think this horn will be okay for the bike trail, no problems at all. Yeah. So I kind of like that. And then your light switch is right here for to turn your headlight and tail light on and off. And then you can turn your backlight on your display on and off by holding the up arrow. That turns the backlight on here. And then to put it into walk mode, you hold the down arrow. And you can see the little foot there, it puts it in walk mode. Let's see how fast it is in walk mode. So you got to hold it for walk mode to stay on. Maybe 3 miles an hour in walk mode. 3.5, 4. So yeah, and then you let go of that button and walk mode stops. So pretty nice. One thing I could not figure out, and I don't think it has, is cruise control. That would have been nice if they give you some kind of cruise control. All right, let's try the pedal assist levels. So let's go up into PAS 1. Oh, that's weird. Huh. PAS level, or the throttle only works whenever you're in PAS 0, which is awesome because I wish it worked on all my other bikes when it was in PAS 0. However, when you're in PAS 1, 2, or 3, the throttle does not work. So you have to be in PAS 0 for the throttle to work. Huh, that's odd. It may not be I'm gonna have to test this out. It may not be, maybe I could change that in the settings, but it may not be that bad, because you can put it like a regular bike and just hold the throttle where you need it. You really wouldn't have PAS levels, but you'd be able to you know, maintain any speed that way, as long as you're okay holding the throttle where you need to. You know what I mean? Like, you could essentially just, if you wanted to go real slow, you could just hold the throttle just slightly and go slow, give it more throttle, just keep holding the pedal. So that's actually really nice that the throttle works with PAS 0. I really like that. I just wish, however, it would work full throttle when you were in the PAS mode. That would have made it perfect. But let's test out these PAS modes anyway. So here we go, PAS 1, and 10.5 miles per hour on the display, about 9 on my GPS on my phone. So this may be off slightly on here, but 10 miles an hour. So I would say somewhere around 10 miles an hour with PAS 1. Now let's try 2. Let's shift up here. PAS 2. The cadence feels good with PAS 2. And the gears, I'm in 7th gear. 16 miles an hour on the bike. 14, 15. So maybe 15 miles an hour on the, I'd say around 15 with PAS 2. Now let's try PAS 3. .2, 19 on the GPS. Let me get around this bend here. And I'm not really putting any effort into these pedals. I'm just basically rotating them in the air pretty much. 20 on the GPS. So PAS 3, you can get it up to 20 miles per hour with the pedals. And the cadence felt pretty good. Might want to change this to an 11 to 34 like my other bike, or 11 to 28 like my other bike. But let's see, at top speed, that's how you're pedaling at top speed. So not too bad. I changed it on my other bikes, the freewheel on my other bikes, because I unlocked them to go faster and it was hard to keep up with the pedals. But for this, with the max speed being 20 miles per hour, you could keep up pretty good with the pedals. Oh, somebody's at my door. Okay. Actually, my buddy's bringing a friend up. He's a subscriber of mine that they were talking. He's like, oh yeah, I'm actually a subscriber of his. And he wanted to come up and try out some of my bikes. So actually he's here today. He's gonna come over. I'm gonna let him ride a couple of my bikes, and he's thinking about ordering one. So I don't know which one he's gonna wanna order, but yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Small world. But anyway, so about 10 miles an hour in PAS 1, 15 in 2, and 20 in 3. And that's all the PAS levels you get. All right, guys, sorry about that. A friend of mine just stopped up with his friend so that he could check out some of my bikes. But back to the display. So your PAS levels, factory out of the box, you get 3 PAS levels, 1, 2, and 3, as well as 0. Now, one thing I did notice about this, I was like, hey, there's got to be some settings you can change on here. Let me try it. It does show you a few of the settings in the manual, but not all the ones that you can change. So if you hold down the plus and the minus button when the display is on, it'll take you into a menu setting. And then you have TC, and what that is trip reset. You can hit no to not reset it, or hit yes to reset your trip meter. Then you have your BL, which is backlight. So you have 3 different levels of adjustability. And then you have U1, which is mile per hour or kilometers per hour. So that's how you change that. Well, what's cool is, so once you're in this setting, those are the only 3 modes you can change from that setting. You can actually hold down the middle button and the bottom button and get into your wheel size, which mine's set for 23. I wouldn't change that just yet. I mean, you could test your thing. Now the LS, I believe that's like a speed. It's all the way maxed out at 40. I believe that's kilometers, but it's still capping out at 20 miles per hour. So I'm not sure if that makes a difference. I tried to lower that and tried it. Didn't seem like it made much difference. So there's 2 different settings there. But hold the middle button down to take you back to the beginning. But let's get back into there. So now, once you're back into the basic settings here, you can hold down the plus and minus one more time, and that takes you to a bunch of different, like 8 different things in here that can be changed. Now, I don't know if you can change all these yet, or if you do, what they do, if they make a difference. I have to look into that yet. But there is one thing that's really cool that I noticed, which I love about this, is that you can go to, I believe it's, oh, before I get into that, sorry guys, I'm jumping around here a little bit, but you can actually adjust your voltages of where each battery level shows on your bar. So when my battery gets to 40 volts, it'll show at that level. And you could change, you know, the second bar to when it gets down to 44.5, but you could change that voltage there. You know, you could change it to whatever you want. So you can figure out what your battery levels are based on voltages and make that battery meter read as accurate as you can get it. You know what I mean? So that's pretty cool. I've never seen a bike let you adjust that before. But let's exit out of this for a second. And the SCA2, this is the number 2 setting. This is the setting. So right here, you can see we're set to 0 to 3. So there's only 3 different PAS levels right now. You could change this from 1 to 3, which will disable your throttle, 0 to 5, 1 to 5, 0 to 7, 1 to 7, 0 to 9, or 1 to 9. So there's many different options available there that you could make this bike have 9 different PAS levels. And then what's cool, and is they should include this on every e-bike in my opinion, is that you can go into each PAS level and adjust your percentage of power to each level. So PAS 1, it's set for 25%, PAS 2 is at 34, 3 is at 43, 4, 52, and so on, all the way up to PAS 9, which is set to 96. We'll take that all the way up to 100, which is A0. I don't know if that's kilometers per hour. No, I think that's percentage of power. So anyway, long story short, you can adjust each PAS level to whatever you want. So what's awesome about that is if you're riding with family members or whatever, you can make your PAS 1 to match. You know, I can make that match my son's Kent electric bike. When he's in PAS 1, I can make our speeds match perfect. So you can adjust the percentages to whatever you want. So, I mean, you could go all the way down to 2, like 0.02. Let's go up to, well, let's keep it all the way down. We'll just see if it works. So hold the middle button, that'll take you back to the beginning. Now, like I said, there's 8 different things you can play with there. I'm gonna go through and try to figure out what they are, and I'll send them an email and see if they could send me something back on them. But there's a lot of different things you could change. Make sure you don't change the wrong settings, because you don't want to change things that are gonna affect other things on the bike. And I think I seen somewhere there's a way you can reset this to factory settings, which is a nice feature. Let's try this out now. So there's PAS 1. Yeah, it's like, there's like nothing there. So I think I had that turned down too low. So let's go to 2. Yeah, see, no, so 90 watts of power there, 110, 50, whatever. But it's, you know, definitely gives you a lot more different ranges between your PAS levels. So you can pretty much cruise at any speed you want. Throttle still does not work though. I don't know how to activate that, if you even can. I'm gonna have to dig into that because it only works on 0. But that's awesome that you could change this to 9 different levels if you want. I don't think I need 9 different levels of throttle. Maybe 5. I'll probably set mine to 5 and then have, you know, a couple different ones match, you know, my son's bike, my wife's bike, and just some of my different bikes on different PAS levels. And then if I'm out with a group of people riding, you know, it can match perfect. And that's awesome, because sometimes when you get different brands of bikes, or even different lots of bikes, even from the same brand, if it's a newer version or an older version, they change things, and sometimes your speeds don't match, and it's hard to keep side by side with other people. So that's a really nice feature about that. I love that you can change your PAS levels of each PAS in the settings. I mean, that's a great feature to have. If you have any suggestions, I'm going to be making at least one more video on this bike. I'm going to be taking it on a long ride out through the country, and we're gonna see what kind of mileage we can get out of this 12.5 amp hour battery, and testing it out on some hills and stuff. There's a small hill over here. Let's go over here and test it out on these hills real quick in this video. I'll do a little bit more detailed hill test in my next video. So if you guys want to see that, make sure you guys stay subscribed and hit that bell notification so you get notified when I upload that next video. Oh yeah, if you guys are interested in seeing anything specific in my next video, put it down in the comments, let me know, and I'll try to address it in my next video. Or if you have any questions, leave them down below. I try to answer every question and I read all my comments. So let's try it on this hill over here. I'm gonna go down to 0 so I can use throttle. Oh, I set it for, must have set it for 1 to 9, not 0 to 9, so I don't have any throttle. Let's go back in there and change that real quick. Let's go 0 to 9. There we go. So now I'll have throttle. Yep, got throttle now. Yep, right up this little hill, no problem. So let's try, let's hit these bumps here. Oh yeah, nice and smooth. And I gotta tell you, oh, I hope the camera wasn't down too low, guys. I gotta tell you, my first impressions of having, this is the first bike I have with suspension, and I gotta tell you, it's pretty comfy. I mean, it's not bad at all. It's definitely softening the bumps, and the seat, I'm actually surprised for a $1,000 bike. Usually the bikes come with really cheap seats, and this seat is pretty darn comfortable in my opinion. I might not even be having to upgrade this seat. But let's try this hill out real quick in this before I go on this video here. I don't want to make too much content in this video. I'm not going to have nothing for my next video, but just trying to show you guys. To show you guys what you need to see. Let's see, should I stay in 0 so I have throttle, or should I just bump it up? Let's just try the PAS levels. I think my 1's too low. Let's go to watts here. Whoops. So 149 watts. Bump it up. I'm barely putting any effort into these pedals. I'm actually just spinning them pretty much in the air. 489 watts, 554. Let's bump it up. Let's go all the way to 9, 712 watts. Let me downshift a little bit, put a little bit of effort into it. It's pull me up, no problem. I'm barely putting any effort into it. About 6.4 miles per hour, 682 watts, 681. So right around, my battery may not be fully charged right now, so right around 700 watt max. Yeah, right up that hill, no problem, guys. So like I said, we'll be doing some future testing. I'm going to take my next ride on like a long country ride for many miles down through town, up through some hills and things like that. So if you guys are interested in seeing that ride, but overall, my first impressions of this bike, I mean, I'm pretty impressed. I mean, the suspension definitely softens them blows compared to not having suspension. They give you a suspension seat post with the deal, and a pretty soft seat for around $1,000, and that's pretty cool that it includes that seat post, like I said, because that'll save you guys at least 20-30 bucks if you had to upgrade that. 12.5 amp hour battery. Pretty much so far, the only thing that I'm not really loving is the no throttle when you're in PAS levels. But like I said, it may not be that big of a deal, because in PAS 0 and go as slow as you want and just use the throttle to give you as much help as you want. So essentially it's like an unlimited range of PAS levels. So yeah, guys, not a bad bike at all, just from my initial impressions. Now over time, once I ride this bike for a few months and things like that, I will leave any updates or comments down in the description below about anything as far as updates go, or you could watch some of my future videos. I'll probably make a few more on this bike, but I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it answered any questions you may have on this bike. And as always, I will leave an affiliate link down below in the description for this bike, both on their website and on Amazon. So if you guys are interested, check that out. And the coupon code will save you guys a couple bucks off of their website if you're interested. So don't forget to use that, and I will see you all around on the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment below, and happy trails.